Good morning, and welcome to the graduation exercises of the class of 1992. On behalf of our class, I would like to welcome family, friends, and honored guests who are sharing this special moment with us today. We wish we could have shared our joy with relatives and friends not able to attend the ceremony, but their thoughts and love are with us nonetheless. Later this morning, we will march back down the aisle, and our high school careers will have come to an end. None of our high school accomplishments would have been possible without the love and support of family and friends. We thank you for keeping us on track and never letting us lose sight of who we are. And we must also thank our teachers, who have worked so closely with us these past 4 years to challenge our intellect and inspire us to greater heights than we ever dreamed were possible. This ceremony today marks the culmination of 4 years of our lives. But what is it that makes our 4 years of high school so special? The 4 years we attended Langley saw significant changes, both globally and within Langley itself. We saw the crumbling of the Berlin Wall, followed by German unification. We saw the U.S. engage in the first major military conflict of our lifetime in the Persian Gulf War. And we saw the lifting of generations of tension with the dissolution of the Soviet Union, whose military power and ideology posed a significant challenge to our future and well-being when our parents were graduating from high school. While these changes were occurring internationally, Langley was experiencing changes of its own. During our first 2 years of high school, Langley underwent renovation, and the school we had first arrived at was turned into a construction site with exposed pipes, electrical cables, and gaping holes. We endured this renovation, knowing that we would see a new and improved Langley, which indeed we did. Towards the end of sophomore year, we discovered that Langley would be moving to a 7-period day. Although skeptical at first, we adapted and discovered the freedom of choice the extra period provided us with. And as seniors, we said farewell to Dr. Manning, our principal of 10 years, and welcomed the arrival of our new principal, Dr. Arangio. Meanwhile, our athletic program was on its way to its most successful year in the history of Langley. Change is inevitable, and with the rapid technological growth in today's society, the ability to adapt to change has become more and more important. The changes we have experienced during our years at Langley have helped to shape us as individuals and have provided us with the skills necessary for success in the future. We will be going our separate ways in the next few months, and even more changes lie ahead. But just as we must embrace change, we must not lose sight of where we have come from. Our experiences since infancy, especially those of the last 4 years, have defined our identities, and memories of these experiences will follow us wherever we go. I wish you all good luck in the future, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the ceremony.
I am pleased to introduce our honored guests who are here this morning joining us in our graduation ceremony. If you would please stand when I announce your name. From Langley High School, Hazel Orth, mathematics teacher. John Platt, athletic director and director of student activities. Ann Hargrove, director of guidance. Thomas Aiken, assistant principal. Leslie Butts, assistant principal. And from Fairfax County Public Schools, Jane Strauss, school board member. E. Wayne Harris, area superintendent. Joanne Field, school board member. Welcome to the graduation of the class of 1992.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michelle Africa, the senior class vice president. Today I'm here to introduce our graduation speaker, Dr. Charles Bradford Jackson. Dr. Jackson is a well-rounded and accomplished individual. He was an outstanding student and athlete in his high school and college years. As a high school student, he received the Harvard Alumni Award for scholarship and sportsmanship in football. When he entered college, he received the 2 Brown Bear Awards for track and field for setting the school record in the pole vault. In medical school at Georgetown, he got the highest achievements in pediatrics and surgery. Dr. Jackson has been certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgery and many other associations. In addition to all his honors, Dr. Jackson has been a member of 19 societies and associations, including the American Cancer Society and American Medical Association. He has proven to be a notable professional as well as a strong supporter of civic affairs. He was once the president of the Arlington YMCA and the senior warden at St. Francis Episcopal Church. Personally, I admire his commitment to so many organizations, to be a successful surgeon, and still have time to be a dedicated father and raise 4 children, who, by the way, all attended Langley. Currently, he has his own practice in Arlington. He is a clinical instructor at Georgetown University and is most known to us as the team orthopedic surgeon of the world champion football team, the Washington Redskins. Now I am honored to present to a distinguished professional and long-standing member of our community, Dr. Charles Bradford Jackson.
I was a little nervous until I saw that flag come down and the national anthem be sung so beautifully. You know, as we stand out in front of 53,000 individuals just expecting the Redskins to win, you get a little nervous. Even the doctor gets a little nervous. But when that flag came down here, it reminded me of that, and I lost a little bit of that nervousness. What I'd like to talk to you this morning about is our ability to make a very significant transition. Perhaps you and I don't really realize the significance of this transition. At least in preparing for this talk, the more I looked into it, the more I found graduating from high school, going off to college, becoming free of the roll call, becoming a friend of my parents, was one of the most significant times of my life. I'd like to title this speech, this short speech, From Freedom Through Love to Friendship. Let's begin backwards a little bit. Let's look at friendship. As a matter of fact, I'd like to look at the most unlikely individuals that you feel are going to be your best friends, your parents. I remember a guest speaker that came and spoke, and his tape was recorded, and I've listened to it many times, a fellow named Greg Davis, talking to a bunch of seniors at a convocation. And he said, I know your eyes are going to roll back when I tell you this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Your parents love you. I know you think that when your parents get out of bed and their feet hit the floor, the first thing they think is, how am I going to make my young student miserable before breakfast? And when he said this, the audience kind of laughed a little bit like this, but there was one in the audience that said, amen. So then he said, you don't know how important it is to become friends with your parents, to maintain open communication lines. That is, you feel that your parents have a certain defect in their intellect that just makes it impossible to maintain communication. And again, there was a little laughter, but there was an amen. And he looked over in the audience and he said, what's your name, young man? He said, Eric. He said, Eric, do you know why your parents have that defect in intellect? What else could make a parent yell across the yard, if you get both those legs cut off by the lawnmower, don't you come running back to me? Or, I want you to look at me. Don't you look at me like that. Our ability to become friends with our parents requires a certain amount of freedom, and that freedom is symbolized in our graduation here today. One of my favorite authors, C.S. Lewis, in a book that talks about love, states, it seems no wonder that our ancestors regarded friendship as something that raised us up above humanity. This love, free from instinct. You see the other loves. The love of man for woman is an instinct. The love of mother for child, the affectionate love, is an instinct. But this love of friendship, is free from instinct. It's free from all duties but those which love has freely assumed. When you go home from college, or you come home from work, or you come in from the Army, there's not going to be, Johnny, would you take the trash out? There's something about it that frees you from those duties. It is almost wholly free of jealousy and free without qualification from the need to be needed. It is eminently spiritual. Freedom from jealousy. As my children went off to college, and now my youngest has been away at college for a year, My wife and I have realized that we have not been to ourselves. We have lost something not just of our children, but we've lost something of ourselves. As if my wife is a beautiful diamond with multiple facets. I cannot shine on every one of those facets to show her beauty. It takes my children and friends to shine on those facets to show her true beauty. In each of my children, in my wife, and in myself, I cannot bring out what's best in them. I'm not large enough to bring out but a part of my children. I want other lights to show the many reflecting sides of my children. That is, this is not a jealous love. This is not a love to take on ourselves. This is a love to be shared by all. Let's go back to freedom. I'd like to turn that upside down a little bit too. Normally we think of freedom, we think of freedom of speech. I'd like to talk just a moment about freedom from speech. Ben Franklin once said, "A fool carries his heart in his mouth. A wise man carries his mouth in his heart." You know, we've all heard that statement, that if we are looking dumb and staying quiet, there's a good way to prove that we're dumb, and that's to open our mouths and to say something. This freedom from having to speak, that is, my mother would say to me, "Charles, it's very difficult to drink from the fountain of knowledge when you're speaking." To be able to control ourselves, to be able to listen, to be able to be that person that's a friend is what I would like you to be free of. Not just free of the roll call, but free of self. You know, this self has been glorified in our psychology books and in our textbooks, but what I would like to point out is freedom for the unself. The unself-esteem, the esteem that comes from giving of ourselves to others and of being a help and a guidance to them. From this freedom through love. And I'd like to turn, just to be consistent and conclude here in the next minute or two, turn love. Look at it upside down. Rather than gift love, that is the love that we give to others, the love that is called need love, the love that we accept. This love in a state of dependency is what's going to be needed in the next several years. And what I mean by that, there was a young graduating senior here several years ago, went out to the University of Oklahoma, was involved in a skiing accident right around the first of the year, broke his neck, just happened to be in Denver, Colorado, in one of the finest rehabilitation centers in the world for broken necks, the Craig Institute, and was beginning his rehabilitation program. I had to go out to San Francisco, and on April the 4th, I was going to stop in Denver, go see Drew Dabney, be with him, see how his recovery is coming, and then go on to my speech. When I got there, it was a very interesting situation. His mother, who had been pretty much what we thought at the church as overprotective. She had been out there so much, she wasn't getting sleep, she was staying awake, she was just being there all the time. I saw this mother as we walked into the room, lean over, kiss Drew. Drew looked up at me, he smiled, he winked, and he gave me a mock kiss. That humor, that ability to accept her love, that ability to maintain his composure when here he was, not able to speak because of a trach in his throat and not able to move a muscle in his body. And we talked through her. He was not able to speak because he had no air that could come through his mouth. So he would make mouth motions that I couldn't interpret. Only a mother can interpret those kinds of motions. And we talked for hours. We talked about my experiences as a physician taking care of patients with broken necks and what it would mean. He talked of having what he wanted in life drop a little bit, Rather than being a great leader, he wanted to get back on the patio and be able to drink a beer and have a cheeseburger. Well, the next day, I called home, and Drew had died. The experience of seeing that helpless individual able to accept the love, even the overprotective love, is what I call, and it's what's called by C.S. Lewis, who first described it, need love. Well, what does it mean? As we go off to college, our new freedom, hey, there may not be a roll call. I'd like you to take roll. I'd like you to look across that class. There may be 400 people in that class and say, how many here do I know? Do I just know Charlie? How many people do I know the names of in this class? I'd like you, when you are down in money and you're a little embarrassed to call your parents, to think of Drew, to think of how much your parents want to love you and give to you, and not have the pride that you don't call and tell them that you need them. And when you go home for vacation, I'd like you to treat your parents in the eyes of a friend, a loving friend. Shine up that diamond. Throw a little light on one of those facets to the great magnificence that your parents are. Let us walk to the calling to which we've been called with all humility, with gentleness, with patience, forbearing one another in love, being diligent to preserve the unity of God's Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Jackson, before we go any further, I'd like to give you a token of our appreciation. Here it is, right here. On behalf of the class of 1992, we'd like to thank you for celebrating this joyous day with us of graduation. And here it is. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce a musical selection that will be played on the piano by Shauna Vickers. Good morning. I'm Chris Williams, and I'm the senior class president, and I'm going to give you a short little speech on how I feel about this year. Well, we've done it. This is the point we've been wanting to be at for such a long time. We've survived that and graduated from Langley High School. How's it feel? Feels good, doesn't it? Feels great even. A feeling of triumph must be running through each and every one of your bodies out there. However, it seems like just yesterday, when we were entering Langley as freshmen to experience our first day of high school. As I walked out of sixth period then, I thought to myself, well, only 719 days till we graduate. It's nothing. It seemed like such an eternity then. But as I sat back and looked upon those 719 days in the past, I saw so many encouraging things. 359 bright-eyed students who are more than determined to make their mark in the world. The tremendous excitement that we experienced during our Spirit Weeks. The spectacular homecomings and proms. And last but not least, the long, strong, lifetime friendships that were built. Now, as we approach this fork in the road, when we leave high school and go on to our respective colleges and jobs, one would tend to be sad and mournful. But I encourage each and every one of you not to just be sad, but to also be happy for you have completed a very important section of your life. There are so many people who are partly responsible for us students graduating today. The great teachers of Langley High School, who not only provided us with the perfect learning environment, but also their knowledge and expertise in their specific subjects to help us broaden our own general knowledge. And to our caring parents, who supported us through our studies, healed us when we were sick, and were just there for us when we needed them. We love you, and thank you very much. The majority of the credit should go to you, the students. The best teachers in the world and the best parents' advice couldn't automatically make you graduates. You had to choose to use the sources that were being offered to you. We've made great decisions. We wouldn't be here today if we didn't make the right decisions, and that's what makes us so special, so unique. Keep all the memories and accomplishments from your high school career and duplicate and improve on them at the next level. I will leave you now with a quote from Alexander Dumas, who said, "One's work may be done for one day, but one's education never. Never stop working hard. That's what's gotten us to this point today." It's a privilege to know all of you, and I know you'll be successful at whatever you do. So, with that, good luck to you. The class of '92 will always live forever as the greatest class to ever graduate from Langley High School. Love you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. We have 3 awards to present. The first is for the student maintaining the second highest rank in the graduating class. That person is entitled the salutatorian. Mrs. Butts will name the recipient and make the presentation. Mrs. Butts?
This student has demonstrated consistently the qualities necessary for achieving this distinguished honor. She is a highly motivated and dedicated student who has persevered with her studies to earn straight A's at Langley High School for 4 years. Her extracurricular activities include serving as the captain of the Langley Dancers drill team, as well as the study of dance outside of school. Her leadership capabilities have been evident each time we have been entertained by one of the dancers' special performances. She has formed many friendships at Langley and is known by all for her warm, caring, trusting, and unselfish personality. Please let us congratulate the salutatorian for the class of 1992, Marcy Heller Lewis.
The student who has earned the highest rank in the class of 1992 receives the valedictorian's Langley medallion. Mr. Aiken will name the recipient and make the presentation.
The valedictorian of Langley's 1992 graduating class is an extraordinary individual who has earned all A's in an extremely demanding four-year academic program and has achieved a seemingly endless list of academic awards, which include National Merit Finalists, as well as Langley's Most Outstanding Senior Math and French 5 student. Additionally, this student is an accomplished musician, has attended the Virginia Governor's French Academy and Boys State, and is the captain of Langley's award-winning Its Academic team. This individual has been characterized as a superior student and a true scholar who has a remarkable sense of seeking the truth. It is my privilege to honor with you the valedictorian of Langley High School graduating class 1992, Mr. Douglas S. Kim.
The third and last award is the Langley High School Faculty Award, which is presented to a senior who has demonstrated leadership, enthusiasm for school, participation in school activities, a high degree of sensitivity and academic success. Mrs. Orth will name the recipient and make the presentation.
The Faculty Award is given each year to the senior who has achieved academic, social, and personal goals which are valued by the faculty. This year's recipient has achieved much during the 4 years. Intellectual curiosity has only been satisfied when the person has challenged themselves in the most difficult courses and persevered. Social responsibility to family, school, and community is taken seriously by this person. Never is a job too hard or too trivial. This person has wonderful insights into the nuances of human interaction. She is able to see the positive with the negative and works to enrich the community. The joy of learning on all levels of human endeavor make her truly special. The faculty admires what she has achieved and what she is as a person. It is with great pleasure that the faculty of Langley High School gives this year's award to Christina Elias.
And now with a musical selection that we know you will enjoy. Please enjoy as much as you can.
Seems strange that just the other day I smiled and said hello to you and saw you there for the very first time. Seems strange that just the other day I didn't even know your name, your laugh, your smile, and you didn't know mine. But you walked into my friendship, and there's no door going out. So like it or not, I'm what you've got. You're stuck with me for the rest of your life. You'll be forever my friend. My friend. You'll be forever my friend. My friend. The day that we met. Day that we met. We started something that never will end. You're part of me now, in the heart of me now, forever, forever my friend. And if sometime there comes a day I have to say goodbye to you, if we touch and smile for the very last time, though there's miles and miles between us two, if you need me I'll be there for you, 'cause I'm in your thoughts and I know you're in mine. Yes, you walked into my friendship, and there's no door going out. So like it or not, I'm what you've got. You're stuck with me for the rest of your life. You'll be forever my friend. My friend. You'll be forever my friend. My friend. The day that we met. Day that we met. We started something that never will end. You're part of me now, in the heart of me now, forever, forever my friend. Bridges to cross, mountains to climb. One more day tomorrow. Power belongs in nature's hands. The end is in sight tomorrow. Never look back, never say die. Just one more day, we'll be there. Morning light now, show us the way. The moment is here today. Together we stand, divided we fall for one and one for all. We're family.
Before we get to the most important part of today's ceremony, the awarding of diplomas, I'd like to offer my final remarks to you, the class of 1992. These remarks are essentially 7 points. Each one is a separate issue, yet they are all loosely connected and relevant today. First, this will always be a special class for me. I say this is a special class because we remember the first time events in our lives more clearly than others. We remember our first boyfriend or girlfriend, when the second, the third, and the fourth fade with time. We remember our first grade teacher, our first day in intermediate or high school, most vividly. I will always remember my first graduating class at Langley. You were a principal's dream to work with all year long. I will never forget your kindness, your patience, and the give him a chance attitude that followed my classroom visits during the second week of school. Visits when I discussed with you the unpopular changes we were about to implement. Far and away, you were the most mature class I've had the pleasure to work with in my 22 years of school administration. My second point is that without trying, you have been fun to work with over the years, whether it was in the classroom, on the athletic field, or dancing on the Spirit of Washington. A few weeks ago, I found some of the tests you took in the 9th grade. I'm going to read to you some of the answers to questions that require definitions in science, math, and social studies classes. The first question: the smallest veins in your body are called, answer, caterpillars. Number 2, the chief cause of divorce in the United States is marriage. Number 3, in Christianity, a man can only have one wife. This is called monotony. My third point, it has to do with your parents and with your family. This is a special day not only for you, but also for them. I ask that you respect and remember your parents in the years ahead. They've been sitting here in the audience with mixed feelings through this commencement. Everything that's happened to you from birth to this moment has been recalled hundreds of split seconds and hundreds of split times during these exercises. Your lives are inescapably entwined with theirs, and you need to recognize how tightly you are bound to them. That's the way it will be until death separates you from them. My fourth point, today is a major turning point in your life, and there will never be another time like this again. Never again will you be so congratulated and praised by family, friends, and teachers. Never again will you begin a journey that was so carefully mapped out and one that guaranteed success as long as you followed the rules. Life up to this point in time, as difficult as it may have seemed to some of you, has been comparatively easy. The game plan was a simple one. You came in the morning and went home in the afternoon for less than 1/2 of the days in a calendar year. College isn't as accessible or as sympathetic or as understanding or as supportive or as encouraging or as tolerant or as forgiving as high school. And it shouldn't be, because high school graduation is the break, the end of the formative years of your life, and the beginning of the next 50 or so years of individually unique experience, your real life in the real world, your journey. My fifth point, remember that failure will always be a part of your life, and we fail much more often than we succeed. Learn to handle failure with grace and dignity, and learn from that failure. Failure makes our few successes so much more sweet. Overcome the failure that is part of all of our lives, and eventually, you too will find your niche of success. My sixth point, I believe that the most effective way of eliminating conflicts among individuals as well as nations is for them to meet, to exchange views, and to begin to understand one another's aspirations and problems. My reason for becoming a teacher is similar to that of virtually all of the faculty sitting in this hall. I wanted to talk, exchange views, work together with young people, our future, to make this a better world. I wanted to do this in an atmosphere of friendship, one free of the multitude of petty differences that divide individuals as well as nations. Langley provided that workplace for me this year. I'm proud to say it's been free of the anger and the hostility that's typical in far too many of our schools. I have never heard one quarrel among students this year that could be attributed to differences in race, religion, ethnicity, or national heritage. And I have never been able to say that in any other school I've worked in during my 30 years as an educator. I hope that when you leave us today, you continue and contribute to the global understanding that so often eludes people of my age. I wish there were thousands of schools like Langley in this world. I implore you to remember the strangers from other communities, from other states, and from other countries that you have made your friends here. Remember how you came to respect them once you recognize their special uniqueness, and oh, how similar their values and ideals were to your own. That brings me to my seventh and last point, a point I've made at every class I've spoken to at graduation. It's brief, and it's related to the adulthood I spoke about earlier. My request is that you reach out and assist someone who needs to be helped along as you move through your life. I ask that you come to the aid of some other student, some child, someone elderly, someone sick, someone in your neighborhood, someone you have yet to meet when they need assistance. Help someone. Hold out your hand. Hold out your hand enough times to make sure that when your life's journey eventually comes to its inevitable end, that your school, your family, your neighborhood, your community, your country, your world is in better shape than the condition you found it in when you started out on your journey. And that simple request will end my remarks to you. We, all of us in academic garb here today, wish you luck, and we will miss you. As you say farewell to us, you say hello to the world of tomorrow. Grab hold of that tomorrow, and using what you have learned through the years, build it into a bright and shining future. It is the hope and prayer of everyone here that your pathway be straight and true, and that your destination be paved with happiness, and it be alive with vibrant promise. Bonsoir, auf Wiedersehen, sayonara, joy kin, adios, arrivederci, goodbye.
Melanie Abrol. Catherine Perla Alessandria. Nadia Alsagoff. Tanya Maria Antonucci. Lynn Abrahamian. Melissa Rebecca Apt. Dana Meredith Bauer. Teresa Vivian Beal. Heather A. Benston.